MPs in this country wisely voted for Brexit back in 2016, and that included millions of Labour supporters, is because we wanted to take back control of our borders so that we and we alone could decide who comes and settles in our country. Does the Prime Minister understand that that demand today is even greater than it was back in 2016, and that we demand, the country demands, that you say to the French President, will you shut up?
That is a disrespectful.
That you say to the French President, we will not accept undocumented males across the English Channel, and that you are not dictated to by an increasingly arrogant, anti-Brexit French.
Barely minutes ago, the House of Commons turned from its usual routine into a spectacle few will forget. British politics like this one. Don't forget to like the video and subscribe. To Dark British, believe it or not, over 98% of viewers watch our content without hitting the follow button. Subscribing is completely free. What started as a quiet afternoon session quickly spiraled into chaos when Keir Starmer, Labour's leader and one of the country's top opposition voices, was suddenly ordered to leave the chamber. The day had begun like so many before. The Prime Minister was speaking to MPs about trade talks and economic plans, while soft chatter filled the backbenches as members waited out the session. Health funding, climate laws, and the latest government updates were on the agenda. Nothing seemed out of the ordinary until it was.
Mr. Speaker, we are fixing the mess that we inherited. We are working with other countries to ensure that we take the measures necessary to stop people crossing the Channel. They are serious answers to serious problems. His proposal for 10 years, wagging the Tory dog, has been to break everything and claim that's how you fix things, to stick two fingers up at your neighbours and then expect them to work with us. And he votes against the Borders Bill, which gives more powers to our law enforcement to deal with security at our borders. And, Mr. Speaker, the reason for that is he has no interest in fixing the problem because he wants to milk it and exploit it.
But everything changed the moment Starmer stood up from his bench. His usually calm tone took on a sharper edge as he shifted focus not toward government policy, but straight at Nigel Farage. Farage, who had been sitting quietly as an observer, hadn't even spoken. Yet Starmer's sudden choice to go after him cut through the chamber like a blade. His words weren't shouted, but they carried enough weight and bite to freeze the room. MPs shifted uneasily in their seats. Some muttered in quiet agreement, while others stared straight ahead, aware that a serious line had just been crossed. What happened next pushed the House from calm discussion into full-blown chaos in under 5 minutes. The tension snapped almost instantly. Starmer's remarks, filled with clear contempt for Farage, sent a shock through the chamber. Quiet whispers turned into scattered gasps as MPs tried to take in what had just happened. The man at the center of it, Nigel Farage, had remained silent up until then. But as the words hit him, he stood up from his corner seat, his face red with anger, and the air inside the Commons grew heavy.
I think that has sort of really led to deterioration of trust in politics. Our successive Home Secretaries telling us crime is falling. You hear it every year. Crime is falling. So please don't worry your poor little heads. Well, that's because the crime survey for England and Wales is based on completely false data. If you look at police recorded crime, which is what we've done for our research all through this, you can see that actually there are some significant rises in crimes of all kinds, particularly crimes against the person. We're actually facing, in many parts of our country, nothing short of societal collapse. If people are scared to go out of the shops, scared to let their kids out, that is a society that is degrading, and it's happening very, very rapidly. I'm astonished that there has been so little debate in Westminster amongst our political classes on this issue, because I'm sure they must, in their MPs' inboxes, get members of the public telling them just how grim things.
Farage, a figure who thrives on confrontation, didn't hold back. He stormed forward, voice booming, as he faced Starmer head-on. He reminded the chamber of his fights for sovereignty and his years spent campaigning for Britain's independence, turning Starmer's attack into a moment to present himself as a voice of the people. Cheers erupted from his supporters, while others shifted uneasily, aware the exchange was slipping out of control. Starmer, unwilling to back down, pressed further. He accused Farage of hiding behind patriotism to serve his own interests, calling his legacy one of division, not unity. With every word, his tone grew sharper. His posture made it clear he was ready to take this battle beyond normal parliamentary debate. That's when the Speaker of the House stepped in. Rising from his chair, He tried to regain control. His gavel slammed down hard as he ordered both men to calm down or face official consequences. But the tension had already surged past any warning, setting up the explosive moment that followed. The speaker's warning had barely settled when things escalated again. Starmer, still burning from Farage's reply, stepped defiantly to the center of the floor. His frustration spilled over literally as he moved. His hand hit the edge of a water glass on his desk, knocking it over and sending water across the polished wood. The sharp sound of the glass hitting the table echoed through the chamber, cutting into the already charged atmosphere.
I got called with the Speaker to ask a question in PMQs. Well, the Prime Minister was not going to answer my direct question in any way at all, and all those Labour MPs screaming and shouting at me. Gosh, it felt like being back in the European Parliament. I really rather enjoyed it. But the serious point, of course...
Farage, never one to miss a moment, took full advantage. With a smirk, he mocked Starmer's loss of control, comparing the spilled glass to the state of Labour's leadership. The comment drew laughter from his supporters, their voices filling the chamber with jeers and applause. What could have been a small accident quickly turned into a symbol of failure, amplifying Starmer's embarrassment as his face turned red. The laughter only fueled his anger. His fist tightened, his voice rose, and his next words came out sharp, calling Farage a career troublemaker who thrived on chaos and left Britain more divided than ever. Starmer's usual controlled tone had vanished, replaced with something raw and furious, a side rarely seen in Parliament. That was enough for the Speaker. With a loud crack of the gavel and a firm command, he ordered Starmer to leave the chamber immediately. Gasps rippled across the room as security moved in. MPs sat frozen, watching in disbelief as the normally calm and composed opposition leader was escorted toward the exit, his face showing both shock and rage. For many, it was the first time they'd seen a party leader removed from the chamber in such a public and humiliating way. Outside, the chaos only grew. The corridors were already crowded with reporters who had caught wind of what happened. Cameras flashed in bursts as Starmer emerged, flanked by security, his face set between disbelief and barely contained fury. Microphones were pushed toward him. Questions flew from all directions. But he said little, just muttering that he hadn't expected the session to end this way before being led to a waiting car. Back inside the chamber, Nigel Farage seized the moment with the confidence of someone who had waited years for an opening like this. The room, still filled with murmurs and uneasy whispers, turned its full attention toward him. MPs who had just moments earlier been lost in their own side conversations were now locked in on the man at the center of it all. Farage stood at the dispatch box, shoulders back, calm but clearly enjoying the sudden shift in power. For years he had been the outsider, the agitator on the edge, but now, for this brief and powerful moment, the House of Commons felt like it belonged to him. He addressed the remaining MPs slowly, each word measured and clear, cutting through the hum that still lingered. He told them this wasn't just political drama or a clash of personalities. This, he said, was about accountability, the very foundation Parliament was meant to stand on. Even when things got uncomfortable, his tone was steady but sharp, filled with a quiet satisfaction that his critics couldn't ignore. Those who had mocked or dismissed voices like his, he said, were now learning a hard truth, that no one, not even the leader of the opposition, is beyond challenge or untouchable in these halls. The reaction was immediate and deeply divided. His allies burst into cheers, pounding the green benches in rhythm, their applause ringing out like a victory chant. Across the aisle, others sat stiff and uneasy, exchanging tense glances. To them, this wasn't just a sharp exchange or political win, it felt like something deeper. A crack in the centuries-old order. The House of Commons now stood on the edge of something far less predictable. The air itself felt heavier, as if the very walls sensed the shift. Outside Westminster's ancient stone, the chaos took on a life of its own. News vans jammed the narrow streets, satellite dishes pointing skyward, reporters breathlessly updating the nation. Flashbulbs burst in rapid fire. Journalists elbowed for position. Crowds gathered behind barricades, phones raised high, recording every second as Starmer's car rolled past under police escort. For many watching, this was no longer about policy or party lines. It was pure political spectacle, the kind that blurs the line between leadership and performance. Farage, fully aware of the moment's weight, wasn't about to let it fade inside the chamber. Just minutes after Starmer's convoy disappeared down Whitehall, Farage stepped into the blinding camera lights and a wall of microphones. His walk was slow, deliberate step, a signal of control. Facing the press, he delivered his message. With calm intensity, he didn't frame it as a personal win, but as a turning point for the country. Britain, he said, was entering a new phase. No longer would voices like his be mocked or ignored without consequence. His words were part warning, part challenge, not just aimed at Starmer but the entire political class Farage saw as out of touch with the people. Within minutes, clips of his speech exploded across media platforms. News tickers ran his quotes. Social media debated every sentence, some praising, others condemning, but no one ignoring. To his supporters, it was a vindication, a reminder that Farage wasn't just relevant but still capable of shaking the political core. To his critics, it was more unsettling, proof that politics was slipping further into the world of performance, where noise drowned out reason. Inside Westminster, the fallout began. Whispers filled the corridors. Some MPs called openly for a formal inquiry into Starmer's behavior, eager to turn the spectacle into a real political blow. Others worried about what the day revealed, that figures like Farage, emboldened by moments like this, could unravel what little was left of Parliament's long-standing order. But one truth stood above all. The balance of power had shifted. What began as a normal session ended as a turning point, an event that changed the course of British politics in ways few could have imagined that morning. By nightfall, the image of Starmer being escorted out was everywhere. Every major broadcast replayed it. Social media looped the footage. Articles dissected the moment from every angle. What started as another day in Parliament had become a lasting humiliation, an event that would haunt Starmer's leadership for a long time. For Farage, it wasn't just a win. It was a defining moment. The day he brought down a titan in front of the entire nation. But for Parliament, this wasn't just a headline. It was a warning. This wasn't a minor scuffle or a fleeting embarrassment. It was a spark, one that showed just how fragile the system had become. The Commons, once seen as the center of thoughtful debate, had become a stage for something louder, more dangerous. And as both Starmer and Farage promised to return in the days ahead, one question lingered in the cold night air. Had Britain just witnessed a moment of chaos, or the first tremor of a political storm ready to tear through Westminster? If you want to keep up with every twist in this political storm, hit subscribe and turn on notifications so you don't miss the fallout. Next session in Parliament could be even more explosive, and we'll be covering every moment as it happens.